Hey, church, thanks for joining us today. If you were with us yesterday, I shared that every Monday for the next few weeks at 6 o'clock, we're going to release an Advent prayer/Devo from the staff here at Cross Community Church, just to set our hearts in tune with this new Advent series we're starting in. Week one of Advent, the theme is hope. And church, we have hope in Jesus Christ, and that's so exciting. It's why we get to gather together weekly. It's why we get to celebrate Jesus. And yesterday we got to kick off this series called Misfits. When the way we're tying this together is that in the lineage of Jesus, there is misfit after misfit, which gives you and I a lot of hope because we too are misfits often. And this series is just an incredible reminder for us to be a part of God's story. And no matter where we are in life, no matter what our station is, no matter what we think about ourselves, we too get to be a part of his story. Joey got to preach at our Poteau campus yesterday and launched our new Advent series there. And so he preached on Ruth as well. And I just wanted him to share a couple of points of what he shared with that congregation to let us glean a little bit from him as well.
Yeah, so I chose to tackle the entire book of Ruth. And so what I did is I kind of just paraphrased each chapter into its own section and then wrapped the sermon up by talking about the spiritual implications of the book of Ruth. And so I kind of just told the entire story. And the book of Ruth, it really has a theme. The theme is moments of hopelessness followed by hope. Yeah. You know, and so one thing that really stood out to me about the entire book of Ruth is it was just ordinary people dealing with ordinary things. Yeah. Like Ruth and Naomi, they weren't special people. Like you said, Ruth, she was even an outcast. She was a foreigner that ends up and finds herself in the promised land with her mother-in-law, and they had just lost their husbands, and so they're both widows, and it seems like everything in their lives and everything in their world is falling apart, and they find themselves in this great moment of hopelessness. Yeah. But the end of the story, the final conclusion to the story is a message of hope. Like God was dealing with them and he was at work in their lives. And ultimately, the end of the story, we see King David being born. And so God used a misfit, a foreign girl from the nation of Moab named Ruth to bring to pass the greatest king that ever lived.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Ruth and Boaz, they had a son named Obed. Obed had a son named Jesse, and Jesse had King David. And from there, we get grandson after grandson after grandson, and it leads to Jesus Christ. And that's what's cool about the story of Ruth to me is that it casts a long shadow. In fact, it's an 1,100-year shadow forward to a little unassuming, unimportant, normal, small little town called Bethlehem, where Jesus shows up as a baby and offers us the hope that we need. Yesterday, I got to share how that Ruth and Naomi went to Bethlehem searching for bread, but Jesus came to Bethlehem to be the bread. Yeah. And as he sits in that manger, there the bread of life is sitting. And church, that's the hope that changes everything for us. And because of that, we have hope that we get to spend eternity with Jesus and with everybody who's gone on before us, who's also said yes to him. And that's hope, church. So this week, as you're with your family, as you're praying, as you're leading your kids through the Advent Devo that we passed out to them yesterday, reflect on that hope and just reflect that you have a hope that one day you will be in heaven with Jesus. And that's an incredible thing. One of the things I want to do also is to read a prayer over you. Our campus pastor from Poteau, Matt Duke, wrote this prayer, and I just want to read it over you and your family, and may it be a blessing to you during this first week of Advent. Here's what it says. Thank you for giving your son, Jesus Christ, to be our living hope. This first week of Advent, help us to remember we do not deserve the sacrifice he made for us, but you loved us enough to allow him to pay the price for our sin. Although we may never fully grasp the magnitude of his gift, we have hope because of Jesus. We wait expectantly for your return. Amen.
Good.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you guys have a great week one of Advent.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.